Hey guys, with the election nearing and Joe Biden doing better than he has ever done this entire race, I want to take a look at why Joe Biden is going to probably win this election. And although there's definitely a chance that Joe Biden can still lose, but why Joe Biden is probably expected to do much better than Hillary Clinton. And I think that there's some pretty important things to take a look at in this video. So as you can see, Joe Biden leads on average by 9.8%. He is up at 51.9%. That is the highest amount of the vote he has ever seen this entire election cycle. So Joe Biden has literally peaked this entire election cycle right now, and we're less than a month away from the election. So this is horrible for the Trump campaign, but I want to take a look at the predicted map as well. This is the confidence that people have in President Trump and Joe Biden. As you can see, chances of Joe Biden winning the election, 68 cents. Donald Trump 36. But the states that Joe Biden really needs to win, he's probably going to win every single Clinton state. As you can see, every single Clinton state from 2016 is in the dark blue. Washington, the West Coast, Nevada, Colorado, and New Mexico, Minnesota, the state of Illinois, all the Northeast, as well as Virginia are all solid blue for Joe Biden. The only three states that he needs to win are these 232 electoral votes and then these 58 electoral votes, or not 50, I think only 47 electoral votes from the states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. These three states are the only states that he needs to win, on top of the 232 from Hillary Clinton states in 2016. He has a 74% chance of winning Wisconsin, 79% chance of winning Michigan, and then 73 in his home state of Pennsylvania. So what this means is that 74 or 79 and then 73% of people nationwide agree that Joe Biden is probably going to win this state. And this means that a large majority of Republicans also do feel that Joe Biden is going to win the state of Michigan. And that is not a good sign. When you're betting against your own party, you do expect them to lose. And so this is betting on money. So basically, people are going to bet on who they really think is going to win. And Joe Biden is expected to win this election just by winning these three states, in which he has an over 73% chance of winning in all of them. And so I'm going to fill in this electoral map here, just filling in these solid Clinton states from 2016 first. I think that almost everybody can agree that Joe Biden is not going to lose these states. And I really do not see a scenario where President Trump is going to win any of these states this time around. So that is 232 electoral votes. Now I'm going to fill in these more solid states for President Trump, I guess. Just filling in states that I think are definitely going to go for him. So 125 electoral votes from all of these states. As you can see, 125, 232 for Joe Biden. So this is the standard electoral map. And as you can see, Joe Biden only needs Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. That will put him up at 278 electoral votes. And what you have to keep in mind is that 4 years ago, Donald Trump was able to win every single gray state, including these states in the Rust Belt. 4 years ago, he was able to do very, very well against Hillary Clinton. He was able to win 306 electoral votes by winning every red state on this map. Now, this time around, which states does Donald Trump actually lead in the polling in? One state, Texas. In every single other light red state on this map, Joe Biden is outperforming Donald Trump in the polls. He might still be expected to win states like Iowa, Ohio, and Georgia. Not even Ohio at this point in most forecasts, or Georgia in some forecasts as well. But according to the polling data, Donald Trump is losing in all of these states, including Iowa, Ohio, and Georgia. And that does not mean that Joe Biden is going to win these states. I don't think he's going to win these states. But what it means is that Joe Biden is truly doing very, very well compared to Hillary Clinton. If I just make all these states gray again, you'll see that Joe Biden really only needs 3 of them. He can lose every other red state besides Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, but currently he is also expected to win the state of Arizona, Florida, North Carolina, according to most people, as well as the second districts of Maine and Nebraska, which will put him all the way up at 335 electoral votes. Now, for this video, I'm going to talk specifically about these 3 Rust Belt states, because if any states are going to flip, it's going to be Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania first. These are going to have the largest margins for Joe Biden, besides any of these more solid blue states that went to Clinton in 2016. And so this is my argument here. Joe Biden leads by 7% in Wisconsin. Hillary Clinton might have only led by 6.5%, which is only 0.5% less than Joe Biden, and Trump was able to flip the state, and he was able to outperformed the polls by a margin of 7.2%. Now, Wisconsin really isn't the best example of this. It is the state that pollsters to get wrong, and that is a pretty big flaw. This was a state the polling was definitely flawed in, the state of Wisconsin. So Trump plus 0.7, Clinton led by 0.5. Now, what you have to consider is that no polls were released after the 2nd of November. The last poll that was conducted was from the, November. The last poll that was conducted was from the 1st to the 2nd of the month of November. And of course, Election Day was November 8th, 4 years ago. And so there were 6 days in which no polling was conducted in. And it was these days that really gave Hillary Clinton that huge dramatic loss in support. And really, it wasn't a loss in support, or it was more of a gain for President Trump. As you can see, Clinton only underperformed the polls by 0.3%. She was expected to win 46.8% of the vote. She won 46.5%. Trump, on the other hand, was able to outperform the polls by, just a huge margin, 6.9%. Trump was able to outperform his numbers by 6.9%. That's why he won the state of Wisconsin. Not because Clinton lost support, but because Trump was able in the last couple of days gain the support of those voters who were undecided for most of the election cycle. As you can see, Hillary Clinton never hit 50% in the state of Wisconsin. Even at her peak, 11.5%, she was never able to hit that 50% mark. She might have led by a little bit of a larger margin all the way back in June. But basically, Clinton was never leading by that great of a margin, and she was barely ever in the 47-48% mark. She only led with 46% of the vote. Right now, Joe Biden already has 50.3%. So that means that as long as Joe Biden doesn't do too much worse, he can probably win 49% of the vote and still win this state, because Trump is, there's definitely going to be third-party votes, and Trump isn't probably going to win all of them. So as long as President Trump doesn't outperform and win, as long as Joe Biden wins 50.3% of the vote, there's no way Trump can win this state, because, well, it's 50.3. That is a majority for Joe Biden. And we'll see that Joe Biden is doing much better than Clinton, not in terms of the lead that he has, but in terms of the percentage of the voters that are going to vote for him. So Joe Biden, 50.2%, and then Clinton, only 46.8%. So even if most voters do swing to Donald Trump at the end, Joe Biden's still probably going to win this state. And this state has been pretty flat. Joe Biden's been pretty much leading by the same margin for quite a while now. So Wisconsin, very good for Joe Biden, leads by literally a likely margin in the state of Wisconsin. And then we have the state of Michigan. Joe Biden leads on average by 7.8%. That's one of the largest margins he has seen. He's now up at 50.4%. Taking a look at RCP from 2016, you'll see that Clinton only led by 3.6%. And this state was not wrong. It was within the margin of error, as you can see. There was definitely a chance where Clinton could have lost this state. She only led by 3.6%. And what you'll see here is this huge surge for Donald Trump at the end of the campaign. Of course, the last poll was released from the 6th of November from Trafalgar Group. This is why they proclaimed themselves to be the only pollster that was right in 2016. They released the poll very late, and you will see that at the very end, Trump was doing better. He was gaining this support. As you can look at this huge jump all the way from 35.3% on mid-October all the way up to just 43.4%. And you'll see Clinton, basically the polls were absolutely correct for Hillary Clinton. And Trump's numbers, they went from 41 from the 1st to the 4th all the way up to 49%. You really didn't see too much of a change for Hillary Clinton. You did see that she did drop off a little bit from 50%, but she never led by 50% on average in this state either. And she was all the way up at 47%, and then Trump went from 41 all the way to 49 at the very end. So again, you see that President Trump was able to gain the support of those undecided voters at the very end of the campaign. This time around, Joe Biden leading much more consistently than Donald Trump was. You can see we had some huge drops for both Clinton and Trump, just a lot of ups and downs, and you will see that on the national numbers as well. But taking a look this time, Joe Biden basically leading by basically the same margin from around 6 to 8% this entire time. Joe Biden up 7.8 with 50% of the vote. He's been at 50% for quite a while now. So Donald Trump there's really not enough room for improvement for President Trump for him to be able to win over all those votes. And the reason why Clinton was not really able to win any of those undecided voters was because of the October surprise and the reopening into her email scandal, which honestly plagued her entire campaign. throughout Clinton's entire campaign, it was just all about her emails. During the Democratic primary, during the presidential race with President Trump, everything was about her emails. And that reopening into the investigation into her emails, I think it really just, a lot of voters just didn't want to vote for someone who, really could have been a criminal, because there were really a lot of things that she should not have put in there. And it was definitely a huge, huge mistake, and was able to keep President Trump from showing his tax returns, because he was able to use it as, I guess, a defense for himself. If he doesn't, if Clinton shows her emails, he's going to show his tax returns, which he was never going to do, as they have been leaked right now. He paid $750 in 2016, 2017, and out of the last 15 years, he hasn't paid taxes a single dollar in 10 of those 15 years. In the state of Pennsylvania, Joe Biden also at 50% here, leads by 7%. So basically, all three of these states at this point are likely states in terms of polling. 7.9% in Michigan, 7% in Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. That's very, very good, very solid margins for Joe Biden right now. And I mean, if you lead by 7%, I really don't see you losing these states. I mean, honestly, Donald Trump leads by less than 2% in Texas, less than 2% in Iowa. He doesn't even lead in Iowa. So, he was leading Iowa for a while, also Ohio and Georgia, but recently, after the first debate, he's lost his lead to Joe Biden in the states of Iowa, Ohio, and Georgia, and Joe Biden continues to lead in North Carolina, Florida, and Arizona. But taking a look at the numbers in Pennsylvania, Joe Biden leads on average by a margin of 7%. As you can see, he's at 50.9%. This is another great example. As you can see, the last poll released in 2016 between Trump and Hillary Clinton, Trump +1, you'll see that, this was released from the 3rd to the 5th. You'll see a dramatic shift to the right, just from the poll conducted from the 30th of October to the 4th of November. And she went from 42 to 48. Clinton went down a little bit, really the same numbers for Clinton, again, never at 50% at any point. And she's up at 47.5 on election night. She did actually do better than expected, plus 0.7, and Trump was able to outperform by an even larger margin, which is why at the end of the day, Trump did win this race in the state of Pennsylvania. So Donald Trump was able to do better here as well, but you do have to consider the fact that, yes, President Trump did gain most of support in the last days of the election. But it's not like polls are wrong the entire time. I am very confident that if the election was held, I guess, in mid-October, Clinton probably would have won the election. Because really we did not see too much of a surge for Donald Trump ever until really just the last days until the election. Of course, did see a surge after the convention for the GOP, but really that was just a convention bump. Really, we never saw too much of a surge for Donald Trump at any time, except for the end of this election. So, of the election 4 years ago. So Clinton definitely lost most of her support, and definitely lost most of those undecided voters who were considering to vote for her, but at the end of the day, they did not come out for Secretary Clinton 4 years ago. So again, Joe Biden 50.9%. Trump would have to outperform by so much and take away a lot of the Biden vote, which I think is pretty consolidated at this point, because a lot of Democrats that did not win 2016 or voted for Trump in 2016, I think most of them are regretting doing that, and a lot of Republicans, you see many notable Republicans coming out and supporting Joe Biden's campaign. So focusing on just these three states, Joe Biden leads by likely margins in all of them. He's over 50% in all three of these states, and he has an over 70% chance of winning all of them. So definitely there is still a chance that Joe Biden may lose these three states. I mean, definitely that can happen. Anything could happen in the election. Technically, Joe Biden could lose California as well. But within the realm of reasonability, I do think that Joe Biden is going to win this election at this point in time. And the reason why the polls have just been so stable between Biden and Trump, Biden has been able to hold that very comfortable lead for quite a while now in these three states, which is why at this point, I really do not doubt whether Joe Biden will be able to win this election. Really, it is just the margins, but you can definitely disagree. I mean, polls can definitely be wrong, but I think that right now the numbers are showing much better signs for Joe Biden than Hillary Clinton, who of course lost most of the support from third-party voters or undecided voters at the end of the very, very end of the election, really the last day. And basically on election day, most voters really did not have a lot of voters, really didn't have too much of an idea of who they were really going to vote for until the very, very end between those two candidates in 2016. And now voting really has already began in these three states. And we see some pretty good numbers for Joe Biden, huge amounts of huge amount more mail-in ballots requested this time around than requested in 2016 altogether, especially Pennsylvania. I think we see an over 2,000, 3,000% increase in terms of mail-in ballots, and most of them are from Democratic voters. So definitely very good sign for Joe Biden. I mean, he can still probably win other states like Arizona, I believe, also North Carolina, in my opinion, and Florida. Georgia, Ohio, I'm not really too sure. North Carolina, I am a little iffy about, but definitely Trump can win these states as well. But these 3 states at this point, I think, are out of the question for President Trump at this point in time. And so, yeah, that's just something I really wanted to address. But make sure that you vote, because none of this matters. None of the polling data matters. Nothing matters unless you go out and vote for yourself and support the candidate that you want to see in the White House. And that is the most important thing in all of this. Polling data might show that Donald Trump might be leading in some states, or Joe Biden might be leading in some states, but none of that matters unless you go out and vote and you reflect those numbers that are being shown in the polls. So yeah, that is, don't get complacent. Just because your candidate's doing well in your state doesn't mean they're definitely going to win it. Because definitely, where stranger things have happened. Trump won the election last time when really most people did not expect him to. So make sure you go out and vote. I cannot stress this enough. Go out and vote. And yeah, so that's one of the most American things that you can do. And one of the things that, we have the opportunity to do to elect our leaders. And so yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like down below. Subscribe to my channel if you have not. Really supports me, really helps me out. Really appreciate all the support. And I will actually be releasing my Discord for this YouTube channel tomorrow, either tomorrow or Saturday. Probably tomorrow. I have it prepared for tomorrow's release. So yeah, I think it would be a pretty cool place where you can talk and hang out. If you have any questions, I'll be able to more directly talk to all of you guys. And I think that, will be pretty nice. So make sure you join that tomorrow when it comes out, and then leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you have any suggestions for videos you'd like to see from me in the future, please leave those suggestions down below in the comment section as well, and I will see all of you guys in the next video.